So who traditionally, I'll ask you the question, who traditionally has scored the most tries with the fewest amount of, or the least amount of percentage possession?
Is it Fiji?
Fiji. And all teams know that. So they work on stopping us having the ball. It's obvious. And we're also the team that has traditionally scored the quickest. So we get a turnover and a breakdown, we score. We get a tap down off a kickoff, we score. We have one phase off a scrum, the next phase we score. That's really important to the way we play the game. So teams look to stop us having the ball. America always used to be really good at slowing the game down. The referees allowed them to do it. They weren't supposed to do it. There was times, but they pushed and pushed that limit all the time. And what it did, it took the game away from us controlling possession. You have to have possession. So if you've got opportunities in the game of when you start with the ball, so a line out in a scrummage and a kickoff, then you've got to have a plan for getting that back. If you don't, you're playing into the opposition's hands. If you manage to turn the ball over defensively, which is defensively always going to get the ball back, that's another avenue for getting tries, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be in control of that. The other three things I've suggested you're in control of. So ultimately, that has to be a foundation. If we have one line out in a game and one scrummage in a game and we win 3 kickoffs, to me that's 5 tries that Fiji is scoring because we're that good at attacking. But it only can be based on our ability to retain and control. So our execution on that has to be right. Hasn't been good enough.
Yeah, what happens when we don't have the ball? Because sometimes you start concentrating on just having the ball, and when we don't have the ball and the opposition starts starving us of possession, we're in real trouble. And that's been the story for our current team in the past tournaments, which is quite telling as we continue to go. Now we talked about you want to ensure the Fijian aspect of playing rugby is inculcated within the game instead of coaching them out of that thinking, to make sure that the gold nuggets are dropping as far as the uniqueness of the Fijian playing style is. How important is that to ensure that we have that point of difference?
I think it's the difference that makes a difference. It's the reason why we were able to win in 2021, and reason I believe that we won in 2016 was that you're going to something that you're the best in the world at. You've grown up doing it. It's instinctive. It's the way that you play the game. And sevens gives the ability to do that more than probably 15s does. You've indicated in terms of what Mick and Ndrua have looked at, they will be looking at how they can get that in the game because it's natural for Fijian players to do that. So the challenge is understanding where it is in the game, because you can't do it if you haven't got the ball, and you can't do it if you make mistakes consistently. In that, then you have to train that. You have to put that in your trainings, and you have to physically develop to be able to do that in your trainings to be in the game. So you can't just wish it. It's not just going to happen because we play a couple of games in training which is about throwing the ball around. It's because as coaches we've taught the players that, one, they've got to be in a gym and physically be able to do it. So how do they create that game which is around manipulating defenders, getting close to them and pulling out, shifting the ball, shifting it wide, going down an edge, coming back, shifting again. But that is because physically we were able to do it. And then we've taught them where it sits in the game as well. But the hard structures, your line out, your scrum, your kickoff, what your defensive system looks like, what your behaviours are on the field, how do you put those into the game time and time again, that sometimes gets forgotten. That all has to sit simply to be able to produce the game of controlled chaos, because you don't have that unless you have some context or structure system around being able to get to